Hello everyone. Welcome to the UT Mile Builders Thursday Night General Hangout. Thursday's hangouts are for the general discussion on mile railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. Thursday's hangouts are the proud sponsor of the Tuesday night presentations, the UT Mile Builders, EMAG, and the UT Mile Builders live show. I want to say thanks for everybody joining in tonight's show. And here's your host for the night, Johnny Reb of Southeast Rails. Alrighty, howdy. Let me get up there, do that, hit that. Alright, here we are, another Thursday night. And Dwight, I just want to say, you can keep the below zero. I'm not coming up there right now, I guarantee you that. I want to say hey to Bill, Cabana, Ron's. Start to finish, Coatings, how you doing, Sparky? Yeah, I might be. Johnny B. good, not sure yet. AJ, what's going on? Joey. And Randy's rock and roll. Let's see, we got Jim over here, Chris, and Dave in the UK, and Ron, about Midwest, I guess. Southern Midwest.
Something like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Let's see, I thought I saw somebody asking about something here. Yeah, I hope so too, Joey. I'll try to make them good. Yeah, AJ said Ron and I are in the ice bucket state tonight.
Yeah, that's a fact. It's dropped 40 degrees here since I got up this morning. From 55 to about 15. Nasty.
Yeah, Sparky's wanting to know if anybody's coming up for the Amherst show. Looks like he's going to give out free tickets, I guess.
Unfortunately, I won't be among them.
Neither will I.
Yeah, I'll third that one.
Let's see, Michael, he said, haven't heard much about the track planner Bill. Is he still doing shows? No, he's not. He's been doing those shows for 2.5 years. We greatly appreciate what he's done for us. But he decided he wanted to take a break from it. I mean, doing shows for 2.5 years, that takes a lot. So, I mean, we greatly appreciate what he did. And he'll probably be back here and there. You know, never know. Yeah, if anybody's got ideas for shows, we're open for suggestions. And volunteers, too, so. If you want to volunteer a show, then you volunteer to do the show.
That's always my philosophy.
How's it going, Jerry? Oh, is Lord in here? I know he said he's going to be working on his layout. I tell you what, Dave, can you call up the pictures of that loco that had that slightly deviation in it?
Find it again.
Well, you can show it doesn't matter where you're at, accidents do happen.
Okay, so we've got a type of engine here. We call them class 70s. The first 2 digits of the number tell you what type it is. And this is one of them. And unfortunately what happened was they made 12 of them and they shipped them over to the UK, the General Electric locomotive. And unfortunately they had a bit of an accident when it came to unloading them off the ship. One of them slipped off the off the ropes, and this happened. It got dropped, and if you look, you can see it's got quite a angle change here.
Yeah.
The whole chassis was bent.
Is that the one? There was a YouTube video about that.
No,
Actually, of it actually falling.
no, that was South America or something like that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I saw that. It was pretty scary.
Yeah.
You can see the deviation in it there. I think the clip shows it quite well. It basically got turned into a green and yellow colour. But yeah, it was quite a problem for them.
Yeah.
And the sad thing about it is, a bunch of guys went through a lot of effort to build it, and it never got to turn a wheel in traffic because it got dropped off a crate.
All right, Ron, we got a question here from Troy.
Okay.
Said, so Ron, instead of painting the skyscraper, would a paper work instead of paint so some of the windows can be lit from a background image?
I'm not sure what he means by paper, but I think he's talking about the video that I just put out yesterday. And if anybody has seen that video, you've seen that I'm not afraid to put my blunders on video because I royally screwed that up and then tried to salvage it. I think what's going to work best in trying to light some of those is a tinting film. I tried to use some spray window tint. It wouldn't stick to the acrylic that I was using. And I knew somebody else who had tried that and swore by it. That's why I tried it. But I think I'm going to try a tinting film like you put on the inside of windows, and see how that'll work. That particular building, I did not intend to light in the first place. That's why I just used a black spray paint because it's just a background building. But I think the tinting film is going to work really well for those that I want to light. I'm not sure what he means by using paper. I don't know how I would do that to light it. Maybe he could expand on what he means by that a little.
Yeah, let's see. John R. is asking if you guys were just starting a layout, would you go battery power for your locos? Dwight's answer was not yet, need more research and other things, and Dwight's right about that. There's still a lot more research and development to be done, because I mean, larger scales, putting batteries in probably wouldn't be that big a problem, but if you're doing HO, yeah, you're...
Battery is still, like you said, Johnny, it's still like kind of the it's kind of still the beginning. If anybody's interested in battery, I suggest going to the Dead Rail Society website. That's the people who are really behind battery power. There are systems that don't use DCC, and there are systems that use DCC. You got to remember, space is a big concern when it comes down to using batteries during locomotives, because, like Johnny said, if you're in a smaller scale, it's harder to put a battery pack in there and fit the decoder and everything else you need to fit.
I can't imagine how you do it at N scale at this point.
Well, you use really small batteries.
No, you just take the battery and form it into the rolling stock and hook it to the loco.
Yeah, that's what you'd have to do. You'd have to have a dedicated car behind the loco, I think.
Yeah. Real fast. Troy said, use the paper to make some windows dark, others light.
Oh, I see what. Yeah, that would be a possibility. That's kind of what I did with my Holt Hotel structure here a few months ago.
Thinking of batteries, you could use coin batteries. That could work. You know, the little.
But you got to remember, if you're running HO or up, you're going to need about 11 volts at a minimum.
Oh, we're not just talking about putting lights in it. We're talking about operating.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, powering it.
That's going to be tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky, but there's a lot of work that kind of you have to do on it to do it, and you really have to look at your locomotives that you're running. Like now, I do standard and narrow gauge model railroading, so I'm planning on dead railing my narrow gauge, but I'm an O scale, so I mean I still have some room, but you're pushing the boundaries there because you're in between. Really, you're in between O and HO in terms of size, you know. So, but yeah, it's and I have reasons for doing it, but I won't go into it. But I'm crazy, but a lot of guys like G scale, for instance, they love it because they can go outside with it and don't have to worry about cleaning track or nothing because everything's in the locomotive.
That's kind of where it really got its start, was in outdoor railway, wasn't it? Yeah. At least that's where I first was aware of it.
Yeah.
For that reason, because then you don't have to worry about powering track outdoors and corrosion and electricity out in the elements and all that good stuff.
All right, well, Cabana Bob just said, let's see, where was it? Make it solar power.
Now you're really pushing the issue.
Yeah. Michael, which John are you talking about? We got several of them here, myself and several in the chat. So
Johns and Rons are always very plentiful around here, and Andys are kind of plentiful too.
Well, that's the reason why I try to go by Johnny.
Yeah.
Anything on the internet's Johnny Rep.
The funny thing about it is my username on YouTube in general is CliffJumper24, and I have more people I know that call me Cliff than call me Dave, which is my real name.
That's funny.
Okay, well, his question was, is your store, John, and do you do mail order? No, that is not my store. That's just a hobby shop that I go to on Wednesday nights and kind of hang out. Right now we haven't been doing much because the store is up for sale, but they're looking at 2 to 3 years before it actually sells. But yes, they do mail order, It's trainmaster.com, I do believe. He's got a pretty nice website. You can go there. It has a virtual tour. You can actually go around in the store with a virtual camera. And you even get to see the HO layout we've worked on in the past. We've got O-scale, 2-rail, 3-rail up front layouts, one layout with both of those on it. And there is a G-scale up front suspended from the ceiling, making a loop. I don't know, I can't remember if that shows up in the video or not, but it's a nice size hobby shop. Andy comes in here to tell you he really enjoyed it in there. He spent some time looking around, spent a little money on there. But yes, they do mail order, and they do have a eBay store too. I believe you'll find the link to that there on their website.
I don't think small shops could really survive these days without doing mail order.
Yeah, that and eBay stores, because Lee said the store ships fast too. So I guess Lee's ordered from the store, and he's in California. So that was coast to coast.
These days, fast shipping's the name of the game. You got to compete with Amazon.
Yeah. I don't know if they're anything like they are here, but they try to pay as little corporate tax as they can, which means that they manage to sell things marginally cheaper than everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, last night I was looking for some stuff and found a hobby shop over in Texas. It's called Harris Hobby Shop. And he has some pretty decent prices. Got ordered some rail joiners, because John got a bunch of Atlas rail joiners, and those are not working out. So I got some, I ordered up some Micro Engineering Code 100 joiners.
All my DCC equipment from the US. It worked out significantly cheaper.
Yeah. All right, CG, I think you know him, Ron.
CG. Oh, yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He said check your Facebook Messenger. Something about he sent you a blank check.
I'll check right now.
Oh boy, you can see him on that keyboard now. No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
That's some motivation right there.
There you go.
So what are you working on, Ron?
I am, I just did that video on that background skyscraper, and I promised I was going to do another one with more detail, so I'm working on that here. Little deeper, a little bigger. This one's going to actually be more of a concrete and glass structure. I'd lift it up and show it to you, but I literally just cemented the sides on, so I'm going to let it sit there for a while.
I seen you moving some plexi around a minute ago.
Yeah. I'm going to use some styrene on this one and between the floors and on the corners, and make a little more detailed structure than the one I did today. It's using the same basic process to begin with as the skyscraper I just made, but this will be a lot more detailed structure.
I like how you did that. That was some good thinking to grid out that your lines on that.
Oh, with the etching on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that works really, really well. And if you do it on the outside, several people in comments asked me, well, did you, go in and, and use some color on those lines? As long as you keep the etching on the outside, you really don't have to. It shows up really, really well. You could, you could make those, etch that a little deeper and, and put a color in there, use some silver or something if you wanted to, but it's not really... Unless you wanted something other than that kind of silvery color, it's not really necessary.
Yeah, Dwight said, nice job on the skyscraper run. I would have screwed that up 10 times over. I think as cold as it is and as bad as he's shaking, we're probably looking at 25 to 30 times.
Well, I screwed it up pretty good the first time myself, so.
Well, that's how we learn.
That's right.
That sounds like some excellent work, Ron. Would you put your YouTube channel in the side thing so I can have a look, please?
Who, me? Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm.
You have a YouTube channel, Ron?
No.
Yeah, he finished that correspondence course last week.
Oh.
It's almost become a second hobby in itself.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Thank you.
But I kind of enjoyed it, so that's okay.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do my update, and every time I get my camera ready, I end up doing something else.
Yeah, by the way, what you been working on lately, Lord?
Wiring.
All right.
Yeah. Spent all afternoon wiring turnouts. About 15 of them. And then I started going under the layout, connecting it to my bus wire. And I decided to quit.
I guess
start over later.
I get underneath the layout and do some wiring for a little while, and then I got a crink in my neck for the next 4 days from crawling underneath the layout.
I don't think I could actually do that right now. I got a bit of a neck problem. The nerves in my in the back of my neck kind of get squashed in the vertebrae. So if I lift my head up like that, it hurts across my shoulder and under my arm as well. So I'm getting some physio for that shortly. I've had it before.
I have some issues with my neck too from a couple of injuries when I was younger, both issues of being really stupid.
It's one of the things with youth, isn't it?
Well, one of them I could blame it on youth. The other one I say I was young. I was like 30. You know, when I was a teenager, I had a motorcycle accident on a dirt bike and landed on my head, and so that didn't do my neck a lot of good. And then when I was 30, I was trying to compete with my kids trying to do backflips on a trampoline, and that was just really stupid. And it wasn't stupid that I tried it. It was stupid that when I failed the first time, I tried the second time. That's when I actually hurt myself. And I'm paid for it ever since.
I think a lot of accidents have been caused by I think a lot of accidents have been preceded by the words "Watch this."
Right. Hey, fellas, what?
Or here, hold my beer.
Oh, my beer, yes, that'll work as well.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Did that hurt?
Ultimately enough, they're the best stories that somebody else tells.
Right. All right, there we go. It's done. No, not really.
I can see
though.
clearly now.
Exactly.
I see. I'm glad you're not an architect.
Why is that?
He doesn't want the competition.
Oh, I don't think you got anything to worry about there.
Yes, I'm trying to monopolize the market.
Well, in a few days, I should be ordering a 3D printer.
Which one are you ordering?
It's the Prusa Mark III.
That's what I like to hear. That's the one I want to get.
Yeah.
They're a very good printer, and it's very good for DIY stuff.
Hmm.
How big does it print? What's the biggest it could print?
I can't remember what the size was. Let's have a look.
It doesn't have a small bed, but it doesn't have a very large bed neither.
While you're searching, I'll show Johnny. I don't know if you saw my platform.
Which one?
You know that one.
This one. This one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got it paint. You got it painted.
Yeah, before I gave it the first coat, and then I got to do weathering and concrete, because that part of the layout is winter. So
That was what you were building last week, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
So now the building is done. Now it's the painting, the weathering.
Those stairs just came out really sharp. I look really good.
Yeah, somebody was asking me about the railing. The railing was bought, but at one point you still have to connect the railings together, so it was part scratch and part bought.
Get bash.
Is it all styrene? The railings are all styrene, aren't they?
Yeah, everything is styrene.
That's what I thought.
I like the fact that you broke it up by putting that middle steps at a different angle from what the bottom and the top steps are.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the reason for that is where you see the ceiling tiles is there underneath. There's a piece of wood. I couldn't make it come out straight, but that's a good excuse, huh?
Well, actually, you didn't want to. I mean, this right here has a lot more interest to it because you got different angles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I found the data on that 3D printer, so it's 9.84 by 8.3 by 8.3 inches.
Let's say 888. That's pretty big.
25 centimeters by 20 by 21.
Which is pretty good for anything that anybody's going to probably ever print at home.
Yeah, because if you're going to build a house or something like that, you're talking about 6 inches, 5 inches.
Yeah, but I mean, if you need something bigger than what the bed is, I mean, you're gonna design it and set the Shapeways or something because they have bigger printers that.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing you could do is build it in components and then have them interlock together.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, Michael's got a question here. We have discussed this before, but that's okay. We can do it again, no problem. Question about ballast. I'm doing HO. Do you feel as though HO ballast is too big? Maybe. I should use the fine ballast for N scale. Your thoughts? He's later said that he's not ballasting yet, but he's just wanting to get a little information, kind of head start. The HO ballast is rather big because you'll use some medium ballast if it's Woodland Scenics. A lot of people that I've talked with and heard from say they prefer the fine ballast. They may use medium for a base just to kind of get the side angles and then come back with a fine ballast on top, so that's what you'll actually see. But the medium ballast would help hold it in place better, and you wouldn't have to use as much of the fine. Anybody else?
I would just recommend never using Woodland Scenics ballast. Barton Mineral or somebody else like Scenic Express or some other company or even a company that does their own or making your own ballast, like what Andy's technique or some other technique other than Woodland Scenics, because if there's a way to do it to make it look good, though, if you really easily to screw it up and it floats and it washes. It's frustrating to work with that stuff. Mostly it's walnut chips, the stuff that makes things the ballast. I just recommend not using it.
Yeah, Jim in Michigan ordered ballast from a different company that sells ballast, and they made a recommendation of using their medium ballast, and it was the same as Woodland Scenics. It was too big, so he had to go back and reorder. Got the fine ballast from them. That was, I think, Arizona Rock is what he ordered.
I think it might have been that one, or it was Scenic Express. That's local. That's in Pennsylvania. Everybody's out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm pretty positive it was Arizona because this was real rock that they crush up for ballast and all.
Okay, then it was.
Well, as far as size is concerned, yeah, I'd agree with what Johnny said. For HO, use your medium-sized ballast as a base layer. If you look at ballast on a real right-of-way, you can usually see the layers too of where that ballast is built up over time. There's usually some larger rocks down lower anyway. Not riprap large, but a lot of times there's a sub-road bed that'll have larger rocks in it than the ballast anyway, and it's usually darker in color. And so whenever of course I'm in the N scale, so I'm using fine all the way through, but I always put down a layer that I glued not on the roadbed itself, but along the side of the roadbed before I ever do my ballasting that's darker. And then I come back and ballast over the top of that. Some of that darker ballast that's on that base layer. A, it holds the ballast in place, and B, it gives that kind of lower base level of an older, darker rock. Comes out looking pretty good.
Yeah, I would suggest, one thing I wouldn't suggest though is mixing the medium with fine, because I tried mixing it, and once you, well, I'm HO, it's not N scale, so when I pour it, all the fine goes at the bottom, and you're left with the big ones at the top. So yeah, best thing to do is medium at the bottom, and then you could mix up the fine and medium on top.
I guess I don't have
Right.
on that.
Yeah, go.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. I started trying to get something to hide my box track, but haven't found anything that I like. At least I tried sand. I tried gray sawdust, and haven't really found anything as of yet. I did buy a tub of Woodland Scenics medium ballast, but it almost seems a little too big for N scale.
Yeah.
You're an N scale?
I'm an N scale.
Yeah, the medium will be too big. You'll definitely want the fine. The fine will, I mean, if you really get technical about it, the fine will actually be larger than what you would want. Sand is going to be too big. Like Andy Crawford likes to use unsanded grout, and I've played with that a little bit. I have a hard time getting that loose ballast look with it. It always thinks it comes out looking too compressed, too much like concrete. But that may just be my lack of experience with it.
I also, I'm still using Bachmann Easy Track, so I got a lot of bed to cover up. So I thought the medium balls might be a good starting point.
Well, one thing you can do with the Easy Track is instead of laying the ballast like a lot of people will do with Flex Track, you can come in with the Easy Track along those slopes and brush full strength white glue on it to begin with, and then sprinkle a thin layer of ballast right on that full strength white glue.
Okay.
And then that'll give some tooth whenever you come back to add some more ballast on top of it to do your final layer, and it'll help cover it more easily than just trying to pile it on and then soak it down. That doesn't work as well when you've got those hard slopes of the Easy Track or the Kato Unitrack. Same way, I've seen some guys ballast that stuff and make it look really, really good. So I know it can be done. I've never really done it myself, but
I also thought throwing it out and getting Flex Track on there instead of using this stuff.
Well, once you use Flex, you never go back.
For ballasting, I generally go for a slightly lighter shade than what you want the colour to be, because as soon as you start putting the glue on it, I use Future for gluing mine down, but it's very quick to do. Within about maybe half an hour, you could lift it up and start tapping it and things won't fall off. It's that good. And capillary action allows it to flow in quite easily. But if you're using PVA, one of the problems I find is that you end up with something that looks right, and you use PVA and it goes 2 shades darker. So you end up with this really dark grey instead of a more sort of natural grey. Another thing that can be done, which I'd see very few people do, is basically go along with an eyedropper, and you can use things like tea or something to just drop some on, allow it to seep in, because it gets the dark grooves and things like that in there. You could use an acrylic wash, just water down some paint, a brown or sort of tan colour, mix the two even, and then again use your eyedropper, water it right down, and just so it seeps in, through all the gaps. Gives a very nice natural look to it.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Sparky, don't know exactly what's going on here, but yeah, Lee put his email in there, so why don't you go ahead and y'all just do it through email, not in the chat, please. Alrighty. Yeah, everybody's talking about doing wiring, and they're even doing that down there in Australia. Thank you.
Yeah, I figured I'd better come and do some work so it's captured on video, and then the ones that doubt that I've actually done anything can go and view it.
Yeah, but what's funny is to watch the electrical inspector go up in smoke.
No magic smoke here.
Define irony.
Yeah, Ron there in Australia said, Marty trying to do wiring, LOL.
Yeah, I'll deal with him tonight.
Yeah, Stu Structure said, down under, you can wire on top of the tables.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah. Let's see, Ralph said, RT watching your skyscraper video now. So at least you got one more view on your skyscraper video.
I watched it and commented a couple times.
Yeah, Bruce is asking, has anyone made armatures for bushes in N scale? I would say probably use the scraps from your Super Tree box. They come pre-made. What do you say, Ron?
That depends on what kind of bushes you want and where are they up front on your layout or are they more in the background. I've used some foam clumps for bushes in the background or for underbrush, where they're covered up. If it's going to be up where it's going to be seen more, yeah, I use scraps from Super Trees and some polyfiber and ground foam, or use some leaf flake sometimes for a bush. A leaf flake, you can't really get a leaf flake that's fine enough for N scale for a bush, but
Yeah. How you doing, Ralph?
I'm doing just fine. How about you guys?
Hey, Ralph.
Oh, we're doing pretty good.
Hello.
Hello.
Afternoon, Ralph.
What's that?
Are you feeling better this week?
Absolutely. Oh no, today.
Today.
Beginning of the week wasn't so great, but today.
my family's been passing the creeping crud back and forth. About all of us have been through at least 2 bouts of it in the last 5 or 6 weeks. It's getting a little old.
Well, I thought I had it beat after 3 weeks, and then it came back after the 4th week, and it came back with a vengeance. So
Yeah,
it never really went away.
right. Was it a respiratory thing or the flu? Or?
It was cold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
real quick here. Marty, got a question for you. Lee wanted to know how big is your layout?
8 metres by 5 metres is the room. So that's about, what, 26 feet by 15 feet?
Okay.
Yeah, about that.
Give or take.
Wish I had that kind of space.
And the layout's going to be 3 decks.
We all wish we had that much space.
See, all the boxes of FlexTrack have arrived.
Hey,
I only wish I had that kind of space if I had a crew of about 5 guys to help me on a weekly basis to build the thing. Because I would never get it built.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah.
I've got a crew of 2.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not in a hurry, mine is 40 by 20, and I'm all by myself.
I have 3 people, me, myself, and I.
That's me.
the Bob. Hello.
Here come Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Yeah, well, we've got this one in here, then we've got an N scale in the inside in the garage, and then we've got half a G gauge, half built on the front yard.
So a true rubber band modeler.
Yep. True rubber scaler. I've also got O scale ON30, but I dismantled that exhibition layout about a year ago. So I haven't built another ON30 layout.
Rubber bands, you got to wind up the wheels and then set it down on the track and let it go.
No,
That's us.
rubber band meaning all different scales.
That's
Bouncing back and forth between scales.
Oh, I see.
you see that's just D, as in DC. You know, D, DC, DCC.
I like to think of that as multiple personality model railroading.
I was thinking like ADD, attention deficit railroading. Yeah.
That works too. Or maybe
I
it
have
doesn't.
the-
I don't know.
You like that?
Say what? Oh, I have that too. I have that too, but it works out in a different way. That's why I'm always working on like 12 different projects at the same time.
Don't worry, Marty's getting medicated for all this. Don't worry.
We should call this condition TAD, Trained Attention Deficit Disorder.
Here you go.
That's my wife reckons it's not a hobby; it's a disease.
He's working on his first token. I'm his sponsor. So.
It is because it is contagious.
It's a 600-step program, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. See,
Hi,
Marty,
my name's Dave,
I'm
and I'm
defending you.
Now, Ralph, you say it's contagious, but I really thought when you were weathering those N-scale cars, we were going to get you converted. So I'm not completely sure about the contagion.
There's a difference between doing something that is ridiculous and doing something that is ridiculously sublime. So for somebody who's used to doing the bigger stuff, going to the smaller stuff, not a good thing.
It's like your drug.
N-scale is the gateway.
It's a gateway drug, that's right.
I didn't start an N-scale, so I don't know if that works or not.
Oh, I think Tyco and HO is a gateway drug.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So when they go from N scale to HO, they go, oh wow, I never saw this and that, and oh look how nice it is. Because N scale, you can't see anything.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah,
I
Ari.
can see it.
Under a
Fine.
microscope.
Yeah, Ari and
I don't have.
Ari and Ken over here in the chat said, yeah, that's the 128 speed step program.
Yeah.
Well, Marty's got one token, so he's got 127 to go.
I was going through the Micromark sales flyer that came through the other day. I am so tempted to pull the trigger.
I just got mine today. I finally made it into town.
Yeah, I looked at that, and then I was looking at all those small machines, like table saw.
That's what I'm looking at. Table saw. It's like $200 off. Almost.
Yeah, you know what you should do? Click everything that you want, put it in the basket, then look at your basket, and then you're probably going to go, oh, forget it.
And then you're over it. Yes.
I was doing that with a computer build today. Like,
I think it was up to $1,600 US. So I said, nah.
What size table saw is it? Right? Is it the little, like the 4-inch or whatever it is?
Hang
on. That's it. I think it's 8.
I'll put it on the screen. I'll share it with you. It's a 4-inch blade.
Yeah, 4-inch table saw. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it on there before.
And I thought to myself, oh, the regular price is $537. The sale price is $299. Even if I do the Canadian dollar conversion, it's still cheaper.
Come out to $400.
It's still lower than the regular price.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could do the other thing, and I could go for the. There's another one they have. Where is it?
I was looking at the other one.
It's about 100 and some odd on sale, $185, $195 on sale. But the fence on it is not as good as this one. This one fastens at both ends. But hey, what the heck?
I know at least a couple of modelers that have more money in the tools that they use to make model railways than they do on the rolling stock.
Hang on, let me interrupt for a second. But Sparky, yeah, you and Lee need to take it to email, because we're about coming to the end of it here. That's something y'all can do in email, not here in the chat, please. Alright, back to the regularly programmed show.
Dwight was asking me about the NMRRC show in March. Not sure which one that is or where. Probably Minnesota.
It's an interesting question. How do shows split around? In the UK, we tend to have an awful lot around the winter season when people do modelling because it's too nice to be outside, etc. It's too nice to be outside in the summer.
Yeah. We usually have a lot of train conventions and shows during the summer as well, but gives us something to do where it's not freezing outside.
I guess it depends on where you are. Here, where I'm at, it's typically the winter ones, fall, winter.
I think there's probably something every month somewhere.
Yeah, somewhere
in the country.
For me, it's 12 months a year. So.
Well, I mean show-wise. I don't mean modeling in general.
Oh,
I thought that was the question.
Alrighty. I got one here from Bruce too. It's what is everyone's favorite machine tool in your shop? And since we're mile railroading, I will take that he means for mile railroading.
For me, it's my my toothbrush.
With
I have-
the sanding disc on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, Dave, where did you show that? That was in the live chat, nightly chat, wasn't it? Or did you actually show that on the show?
No, I showed it on the show.
Yeah, last show, didn't you? But anyway, yeah, we got people over here going they like the Dremel tools.
Dremel, drill, and a hot glue gun. Those are probably and the wire stripper.
Sorry. Okay, so this is a tool that I made. It is an electric toothbrush, and on the head of it, what I've done is I've put some Velcro on it, and then I have little circles that I cut with different grit for the for wet and dry, and then you can just peel it off, stick it on the end, and you've now got something that is very good for sanding very fine spots.
Now you did cut all
pretty
the
sharp.
bristles off first, right?
Sorry?
You did take all the bristles off first.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry. You chop all the bristles off. I sand it down, and then I use some sticky back Velcro. That's cutting. You put the two pieces together. Cut your small hole the size of your the head, and then you use one side and you put your Velcro on. Sorry, you put your wet and dry, and then the other one just goes on. This has got the spiky bits, and the top pieces have got the fur in.
he doesn't use toothpaste, Johnny.
No, don't. Once you've done that, don't try brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
It's a bit too abrasive for that.
Yeah, Bruce said that was
That's
really
one way to
cool.
get the touch. Yeah, that's sharp. I like that.
Yeah, Kenny said, now you give me a reason to buy a toothbrush. Of course, Dwight over here, he said electric space heater in wintertime's his favorite too.
I got one going underneath the workbench right now.
Well, I got spoiled with like 50-degree weather, so it's not too cold in the basement tonight.
This corner of my basement where my workbench is, and I got a basement window right over the top of it. When it's cold outside, it's always freezing right here.
102 in the shade, yeah.
I'm not, as much as I don't care for this 15-degree stuff, I'm not going to trade you, Marty. I'm going to keep it.
It's 39 here, Fahrenheit, or Celsius.
I think to answer the tool question, my favorite, designing tool is my head.
Yeah.
And as far as actual power tool, probably the drill.
Yeah, power
So
tool, hand tool.
do you get called a tool all the time?
I do.
That was cold now.
The most useful tool is the brain because it keeps me thinking.
Jim, let me turn around. I'll pull that knife out of your back for you.
I know Ralph kind of got me with that one.
Just make sure, just twist it before you take it out.
No. No need for that.
What do they say in Ralph's culture? Take the gun, leave the take the cannoli, leave the gun. That's right.
Yeah. And my favorite is my battery-operated drills, whether it's the hammer drill or the regular construction drill. Battery-operated, you don't have to worry about plugging it in anywhere, except for when you're charging it.
I'd say that's the one I definitely use the most. I do love my Dremel, although I will confess I don't use it nearly as versatilely as I thought that I would when I bought it years ago.
Yeah, I'm thinking about purchasing a Dremel also.
Yeah, I've got 2 cordless Dremels. I bought that one that kind of looks like a pistol, and then I got the straight one, like what Ralph's holding up, the micro cordless.
Do most of the new Dremels still come with the cord and the pencil
like that?
Yeah, I got the one Ralph's showing and the one that Marty's showing. I got both of those. But what I've done too is I bought a collet set to fit, to let you chuck on a large variety of different sizes. So now I can use it. I put the small collets in and put my small drill bits in there.
Right.
Okay, now I know it's true. Marty really is on the bottom half of the globe.
He is. It's down under.
Yeah, he's turned the North American. He turned the North American filter off, as he said.
This is what they call inverted wiring.
Good one.
Wire it on top and then turn it over.
That's right. We don't have to wire underneath our layouts. We just do it this way and turn it over.
Hey, you got your layouts on the ceiling like I do.
Yeah. You get over here on the floor.
So how strong are the magnets attached to the wheels on your locomotives and rolling stock?
I'm not sure. I don't see a seat belt either, so I don't know how he's keeping on the seat.
Hey, look, we've even got gravity-defying coffee.
Yep.
I need to go to Australia.
Yeah, Ron Ken said that's the flex shaft that you were thinking of.
Right, that's what I was going to say. If you get one, I would highly recommend you get the one that has the flex shaft with the pencil grip. Because if you need to do any kind of fine work, or even if you're doing some work on the layout, you don't have that cumbersome thing to hold. You got this little bitty, pencil thing that you can make some, precision moves with. And,
yeah, but
I use that all the time.
That said, if you have this cumbersome one, I highly recommend the 90-degree attachment.
Yeah.
So if you're cutting grooves in your track, they're not going to be on an angle because you can't get this down far enough. But when you do it with this, you have nothing in the way here, and you can do your cuts.
What I got the entire kit, the pen, the 90-degree. It all came into like one of those boxes.
Yep.
And it's very useful. You got everything in there.
Yeah, I think that's an add-on nowadays. Or actually, I was at Home Depot last weekend, and they had like 4 different levels, and it started out like $29, $39, and $49 for like the one with the flex line.
Mine was a lot more than that, but I got it when the Dremel was pretty new, or at least in popularity, it was pretty new. So back then, I think the kit I got was like $100 back in the day, but that was a long time ago. They're a whole lot cheaper now than they were then.
Don't quote me on that because I can't remember exactly, but I know it started off fairly cheap.
No, that's probably in the ballpark.
I think the most important tool to have in your layout room, bar none, although some people may disagree, up here in Canada we have a little fridge that fits underneath. We call it the water tower. So you go to somebody's layout, you want to know where the water tower is. It's usually hiding behind
see.
a curtain somewhere.
All I gotta say is I hope there's not water in there.
There's everything you can think of in there, just about.
Everything?
Just about.
I see. I would have to argue that the coffee pot would be my water tower of choice, but
I'm with you on that, Ron.
But that would be in another room. That's in your lounge area.
Coming right there.
that's true. That is true.
That would be in the lounge.
That is true.
Hi, Bruce has also asked
There you go.
if anyone might have a lathe or a mill that they use. Not that I know of in this group.
I wish. I use my electric drill as a lathe and a mill. Doesn't always work, but what I use.
I have a wood lathe, but I don't know that I ever use it for model railroading applications. It's full size.
I can't really ever see a use for one for my modeling.
I don't know that I ever have either.
Well, the milling machine would be good for, like, you know, when you're having to modify your locos to add extra cards or keep alives or whatever, so you mill away the chassis.
Right.
It'll make a lot better, cleaner cut, more accurate. With a Dremel, you know, you could always slip and take a little too much out or something.
No, never.
I have a little drill press for that out in the garage. It stands about 2 feet tall.
Yeah, big shot.
Mount a flat pointed milling bit and an XY vise on the base, and you're good.
I can only think of one reason why I could possibly use one, and it's a conversion that I want to do. So there's an electric locomotive, a Class 91, a high-speed express one, and it's a very old model. It dates back from about 1990. So it's got an old pancake motor, so you know, a Ringfield type motor. So it picks up on 2 sets of wheels on one bogie, and it picks up on 2 sets of wheels on the other one. And it's rubbish. It requires a fair amount of torque to kick it over to get it started. You know, it's old technology, 60s technology, just with a modern body shell around it. And I have a plan to take a Class 50, which is a Coco chassis, and it's got a high-speed gearbox. And effectively, what you've got is you've got the 3 axles on it. I'm going to remove the center axle and just have it as a pin, and then between each of the axles it's got 3 small cogs. What I want to do is reduce them, you know, kind of make them like a triangle on each one, so that it reduces the length of the bogie, because the type of the Class 91 engine, it has a unique wheelbase, so I've got to find a way of doing that. So I've drawn a box, a 3D design for a box for it, just to replace the original one that comes on the model, but instead it'll be a bogie tower going down. But the only problem is that the wheels are about 0.5 millimeter too big from the Class 50 wheel sets to a Class 91. There's about 0.5 millimeter in it.
Yeah, that looks real good, Bob. Everybody over here in the chat's liking it too.
Yeah, just
Bob,
got a little bit of a train coming through.
I saw you had a new video up about it. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I'm looking forward to seeing it.
That
I just put it up today.
Too clean.
Yeah.
That engine's too clean, Bob.
Well, it's too new. It just came out of the paint booth. Yeah, it's a BLI. AC 6000.
Actually editing a video at the moment for my channel. I say at the moment, I don't mean right now. I need my audio going.
Well, Mike, you are very welcome. Mike M here said, I love you guys. You all have inspired me to get back into this hobby. Thanks so much for the show. You're welcome.
That's awesome.
And I don't know about other people, but I see that, you know, sometimes when people on their videos, you know, say thank you and things like that, just leaving a comment under someone's video is a boost. Saying, hey, that's cool, I like that, you know, that's inspirational or whatever. So as much as you may be inspired, they get they thrive on the feedback from that.
I agree.
Hey,
I agree.
I want to build on that as somebody who really considers himself a video creator at this point. Even if your comment is negative, leave it. Because nothing aggravates me more than somebody giving me a thumbs down and not bothering to leave a comment to say what they didn't like about it. Just bothers the snot out of me. I'm like,
yeah. I get rid of some comments from people who are just plain trolls.
Ralph.
Yep.
Hey, after the show, let's get the boys. We'll go over to Ron's website. We'll put a bunch of thumbs down on there. Don't leave any comments.
There you go.
But don't tell Ron it was us.
Hop in the back of your pickup truck.
I've got like two people who thumbs down every single one of my videos within like the first hour they're up. I don't know who they are. They do it to like every single video, and they never leave a comment. Which, now, on the other side of that, from a YouTube perspective, even a thumbs down is still considered an interaction with your video. So it actually, I mean, that helps you more than if they didn't do anything at all. And so on that side of it, I have to say, all right, well, hey, you actually ended up helping me out, even though you didn't want to. But I'm just like, you know, if you don't like me, don't watch the videos. And if you got a problem with the video, just tell me what it is. I'd really like to learn. But anyway.
Yeah, Dwight says, Ralph, Bob has actually got a wash rack for his locos.
I've got a hose over here in the corner.
Is it high pressure rack?
No, it'd probably knock the model off the layout if I did that. It's like a little spray bottle. You know, squirt, squirt, squirt.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Ron. Ron. You might want to look into this one. Troy said they're probably your kids. LOL.
Now that is probably true. Hey, you want to hear a funniest thing? My 18-year-old, who probably can hear me right now, always acts totally embarrassed about the whole Ron's Trains and Things thing. You know, every time somebody brings up the channel or whatever, he acts totally embarrassed by it. But I had some T-shirts made because I've got this contest going. I was going to give a T-shirt away to the winners, so I had T-shirts made for my whole family. Guess who the first person was who wanted to get that thing and wear it? My 18-year-old. He's the only one in the family that's even worn it yet. So
closet follower.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Well, time to shut the show down.
Yeah, he left the door unlocked.
I knew that was coming, so.
Gosh, let that guy in.
Hey, Andy.
Sir.
Look at your screen on Bob real quick.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you come on fast. I see that you had put that video up, and I'm behind. I watched it that way. But.
I want to see it.
I did this in about 10 days.
Oh, that rock work looks spectacular. It's just carved in styrofoam, right? Is that what you're doing?
Well, the rock work is all casted.
Okay, plaster. Yeah.
And I got the shaper sheet up the wall with some plaster on it. And
oh, that's the Woodland Scenic shaper sheets?
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I cut them off thinking that they were.
Well, expensive it seems like. I wish you could make something like that.
This stuff is all shaper sheet.
I've seen that. I've never used any, so I wondered how it worked.
Yeah. Well, my vision for it is not working as well as someone else demonstrates. So it's going the way it goes, you know, learning as I do it. So.
But it is aluminum foil after all, and you can reshape it.
Yes.
Aluminium.
It's moving.
Yeah.
You put plaster on top of it after you put the shaper sheet?
Yes, you have to.
Okay, I thought so. Say.
Well, you don't really have to, but it helps with stability if you're needing some stability.
If you want to maintain the shape, you need the plaster cloth.
Yeah, I mean they highly recommend it. But yeah, you can put the regular carving plaster or shaper sheet plaster on it. But this will hold its shape pretty well. It's all pretty stiff.
Yeah, it seems like.
You know.
So I mean, if you put scenery material right on top of that, in the case of the forest, or in my case where I've sprayed in gaps between modules, if I can fill the edges of that down, put it on, I can have a kind of undulated surface and throw some dirt on top of it.
Yeah.
The problem with the side of the shaper sheet that they ask you to put the plaster cloth on, it has a layer of felt on it. So the shaper sheet your plaster cloth can hold to it. Or plaster, whatever you use.
Yeah, the plaster or whatever. You know, if you can put the cloth on it to make it really hard, you know. But even if you're just putting plaster on it, or you're just leaving it there, you got it painted, and you're just making a little mound of hill there. You just you put whatever you want on it; it'll stay the way it is. If you're putting a lot of weight on it, or putting a lot of trees drilled into it, you probably need some extra stability. Otherwise, it just bend it a lot. So yeah.
Real quick, Marty, just listen. Cabana Bob says watching Marty and friend, which is Steven, upside down reminds me of the video we saw
I forgot about
space mission. Really, I think what Marty and Steven need to do is get some of that hair gel and get their hair spiked up so when he's turned the North American filter off.
What hair?
Well, guys, I'm going to call it a night.
All right, Jim. Appreciate you coming in.
Good to see you, Jim.
Good to see you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I'll see you next week.
Have a good night.
Good afternoon.
See you guys later.
All right.
Yep.
I tell you what, before I wind this up, Mr. Dave, if I could get you to share the picture we were looking at before the show started inside the engine house.
Right, yeah, that one. Let's see if we can find it.
And while you're doing that, I'll kind of set the thing up, because here in America, you see pictures of engine houses. They're pretty big. Y'all got a lot of space inside, overhead cranes. But when you leave the U.S., especially, I say especially, but not necessarily, there in England, their engine houses are not as tall. So they have a unique way of dealing with some of the parts of the locomotives.
Okay.
I'm just trying to find the one I was looking for.
All right, Jerry, we'll catch you later. Have a good evening. All right, Ron, I had to think about this for a second. Well, here, I'll let Dave go with this. I thought this was pretty interesting.
Okay, so some depots in the UK don't have a lot of width space. You know, they can't just stick the roof panel and stick it at the side or something like that. So this depot came up with a clever idea, which was to store the roof panel on the top of the engine, out of the way, so they just slide it away from the center part. So if we look, you can see how the center part is visible, you know, so the engineers can get working on it. And then they've shifted the roof over and they've got it in these little cradles, so they can clip it onto the roof out of the way.
Huh.
Pretty ingenious, really.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, real quick, Ron. Dave P. said, Ron, now you know the 2 thumbs down are from Marty and his friends.
What was that?
Oh, they thought they were thumbs up. It's because they were in Australia. See, now I feel so much better.
But it is thumbs up down here. Watch, I'll show you.
I'll
must
never
be
look
in
at it the same way.
Must be in the
Look at that.
translation. Ronnie,
And it goes like that when it's here.
yeah, see? It's in the translation.
I was going to say, in Canada, the thumbs up's an insult anyway, right, Ralph? So I really should
No, it used to be, not anymore.
Okay, I spent a summer in Winnipeg, but that was like 20-odd years ago, and I know that's one of the things they told us. Don't do that when you go up there. You'll really get yourself in trouble. So, okay.
We have a different one, which is doing that. Doing that to be 2 is fine, but doing it the other way around is not nice.
Or if you got a broken pointer finger.
Actually, I got to do this
That's
shot.
why everybody's always mad at me.
Nobody's mad at you tonight.
No?
No, my pointer finger's always broken.
There you go. There's another shot of that roof thing. You can see how the middle section has been lifted out, laid on top of the other one.
That's it. Run the cable through for the CPS.
It's like making up the process, but using a human for the last part attachment. So it's a frame, like holding sheetrock, like those jigs that hold sheetrock on a steering. But for a frame, pretty interesting.
You need to.
Hey, Marty. Marty. You need to mute your mic, please.
He didn't hear you.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, he did too.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Randy, have a good one. We'll see you next week.
Here's another 2. This is 2 engines with the roof panels parked on top of the engines.
It definitely saves space. It's not like those roof panels are all that heavy either.
No. So some depots are high enough to have big cranes over the top. Other ones have effectively they've got different classifications. So an E-exam is like not quite a full overhaul. That would be a fuel exam. So an A exam is basically check the fuel, check the water, and make sure it's got sand in it. Try check the fuel, check the oil, and put sand on it. B exams are a little more involved, and C exams they change brake blocks and that nature. So and just the higher you go up the exams, the more involved it is. So this would probably be something like a C or a D, a D or an E exam.
Mm-hmm.
Probably D. And this is where they dig in. They start doing proper engine repairs, changing cylinders and things of that nature.
That's so much more organized, and I'm sure the U.S. railroads are more organized than they used to be. Traditionally, though, American equipment going into an American car shops, and when I was young and before I went to the military and had that little bit of time with Norfolk Southern, they had The car shops were over there very close in Knoxville, Tennessee. They were like 3 or 4 miles away, so a lot of equipment come through there that was headed to the shops. And the classification system for repairs was still, even with that big of a facility, was, hey, Paul, this thing's making an awful banging noise. I'm sending it over to you. It was a lot more like a, good old boys talking about having somebody fix their tractor. And Europe has, A, C, and D types of classifications with different shops. We just built a big building and put Paul over there to fix stuff.
All right. Well, if Robert's still here, glad to see you come in. Hope you come on back sometime. He said my first time on tonight. Nice to have company while building a model. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're here every Thursday.
Good to have
much.
Well, the regular hangouts go on all the time. That's what it is. Basically, like a few buddies hanging out while you work on stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're coming up on the 1 hour 30 mark here, so people kind of dropping off. They need to go get some sleep before they go to work on Friday and get the paycheck.
I didn't have to work today. We had a snowstorm.
That's what I think. I don't think I'm going to work tomorrow.
Well, they claimed we were supposed to have like 5 inches of snow, and we got like maybe 2 on top of ice.
Yeah, we're supposed to
and a lot of wind.
top of ice. That's what they say.
Britain would fall to pieces. London would absolutely just drivel into a halt if that happened. The railways in the southeast.
Sounds like Florida to me.
It's kind of like that. The railways in the southeast just shut down because they're all third rail down there. You get some, you get some snow on the top of that, and you end up with the units all arcing.
Yeah. All right, John. We'll catch you later. Have a good one. All righty. What you say we put this one to bed? All right, Bob. Let's see. Let's do that. Go there and go here and pop that. Alrighty. All you gotta do is go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com. There you'll find the schedules for all our shows on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. All the Tuesday and Wednesday shows are at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The Thursday show is at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Also, be sure to click on the eMag. So, sign up with your email. That way you can be notified when the eMag comes out. We got an issue coming out in January. It's bi-monthly, so you'll get one every other month. Also, let you know, since this week we had to cancel the Fine Scale show, it was rescheduled for next week, January the 16th. Next Tuesday, it's coming Tuesday, which will be 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. I'll get it right in a minute. And then January the 17th. Oh, somebody want to take over for me? January the 17th is going to be Into the Locomotive Shop with Ron and Bill and Barry. That also is at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. So, with that said, appreciate everybody coming in. Appreciate all you guys coming in on the panel here. It's always good talking to everyone. Just to let everybody know, this is early morning for Dave over here. Very early morning.
4:31.
Yeah, 4:31, he said. Wow. But anyway, appreciate it. Had a good talk again tonight. So everybody have a good weekend. And we shall see everyone on Tuesday night for the Fine Scale build. So have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.